in a situation where one can judge them. I think these people went through and are still ongoing and going under unimagined oppression from all sides. Them trying to make a definition to who they are or prove that they can get their own state or nation state, I think this is their right. And whose side are they taking? I think it's also normal that they don't know yet.
Okay, but you know, the opinion you bring now is not accepted by any Arab states, any Arab government that I know.
I don't think so, no. I'm hearing it. I've been reading a lot about some Egyptian, let's say, thinkers who've been talking about
thinkers. I'm talking about governments.
But what are the governments that we're talking about today? Let's say, like the governments that are involved in the Kurdish issues are Syria, Turkey, and Iraq.
Yes, but
now that Iraq is out, in a way, it's kind of almost settled that Kurds will have their own territory at some point.
Yeah, but no Arab states, even Egypt that is far away, or Morocco, or whatever, there is no even one Arab state who recognize Kurdistan.
But they will not recognize it, or they don't recognize. They don't recognize it because it doesn't exist now. But would they recognize it if it is put on the table for recognition? I do believe that they will. Especially with the relationship also with Turkey today.
I don't know. But maybe you're right. The genetic GNOME, the genetic map that actually is checking, you can find nations. There are genetic things that are united Jews or united Palestinians or whatever. So they found that Palestinian people is the second closer to the Jewish people.
Yeah.
But there is one nation that is closer to the Jewish people from the point of view of the genetic map, which is the Kurdish.
I thought you were telling me there's this group of Taliban, actually,
no.
that is closest.
The Kurdish.
Which is true, by the way, not Taliban, but in Afghanistan.
What is true?
There is this tribe.
Which tribe?
Somewhere in these Afghani tribes that has real Jewish.
Okay, I don't know about them. Probably you're right, but what I'm saying, and while I can understand, and you can understand, I think we talked about that, why the Jews and the Palestinians are close, because we probably came from the same father. It's harder to understand why Jews and Palestinians, by the way, are close to the Kurds. And the reason is, at least according to the Bible, that Abraham actually came from there.
Yeah, if he came from Mosul, it would make him a Kurd, not just an Iraqi.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's likely true. At the end, when if we really investigate the DNA, I think we will find surprising results. It did happen that there was this research that was stopped because of that. That was taken out of this scientific journal because the research indicated that the closest to the Jewish gene is the Palestinian.
Yeah, but the Kurds are even closest to the Palestinians.
Yeah, this is something new. Actually, that was also more it made people angry because this says that
because you hate Jews and now you are.
No, actually, it wasn't Arabs. It wasn't us who were angry. It was Jewish people who were angry because, to make a Palestinian closer to a Jewish descendants more than someone who's coming from Poland or Russia makes this kind of curiosity for those who are coming from Russia.
Yeah, but basically
that's what made the confusion
says,
on this.
Many people who come from Russia there were never Jews, but
that is exactly the point of that research.
But the interesting point here is that the fact that you can find Jewish people who came from Poland or Russia or whatever, that are close to you from the genetic point of view, prove two things. First, that they are Jewish. I mean, that their fathers left this place 2,000 years ago or some, and prove another thing, that you Palestinians are in a way you were here 2,000 years ago, and probably many of you were Jewish by themselves, and then converted.
That's what I think. I strongly believe in this. I think that, chronologically speaking, also, this makes sense. That Palestinians, not all of us, of course, because some of us came with the Arab conquest from Saudi Arabia and that area, but those who were here as native people are the same people who continued to stay and change the religions according to to what happened in the civilizations. But I also think that it's like we failed to focus on what connects us, actually, rather than what we did was instead focusing on our differences. I remember once when I was in the States, I always looked for Muslims to connect with. Like, I would think that even like Iranian, like he's a Muslim, then he's closer to me. And one time I was in a coffee shop and I was hearing, and I was really looking for people who, when you just want to connect. And I was surprised that I was hearing people talking, and they were speaking English my way, to realize that these people were Israelis. And this is when I was thinking, and when we discussed things, until we started, when it came to politics, we started fighting who's hummus, who's, even the same stupid things that we argue about. But somehow out there in a different country, when I wanted to connect, despite my conscious behavior towards connecting with someone that connects with me in terms of my religion, my subconscious actually went to the person that I really felt more towards, which really spoke my language, even though it was a different language at that moment. But there was so many things in common that I never realized when I was here. And it's a pity. I actually, this was the very first encounter for me of making peace with the others. I'm lucky to have all those peace things without having to go through suicidal issues.
Yeah, and it's making peace without having peace. But back to Arab Idol. When are they going to decide? Saturday night?
Yeah, Friday is the last show.
Okay.
So it will be Saturday. I hope. For me, on I wouldn't say personal. My favorite one left, who is the Kurd. I think Haytham is a good competitor in this show. I think all the people who were in this group this year, they don't have this really full description of an idol. Each one is good in a certain style. And Haytham, when Haytham sings, let's say for Kazim al-Sahir or certain singers, he will definitely be executed. But he has this amazing style in a certain in certain songs, which really makes him rise. And this is his.
What's his second name?
Khalaile.
Haytham Khalaile. Khalaile.
It seems like from Khalil, but this is again.
No, but I think we do have Khalaile in Sakhnin and in Arab and in Akra. But I didn't know about Khalaile in Majal Qom. But okay,
But for me, it's I really hope he makes it.
So are you going to vote for him?
To be honest, I don't vote for these things. I'm totally against. I'd rather go donate money for people who need to be given that money. I will not make NBC richer.
You are right.
But my voice is.
And you watch it.
Yes, that's what this is how I contribute.
What time is it?
8, I think. Yes, 8. But what is important, I think, and this year, in the presence of Haitham and in the previous presence of Manal, her name? Manal, I think. Her name is Manal, probably.
The woman from Saudi Arabia?
No, she's from Deir al-Assad.
But she left already,
yes.
Right?
She had good presence, actually. But I think this whole thing of having Palestinians, regardless to their citizenship, I think that's very important. It says a lot of where we're standing today. Not just for Israel, actually. I think this is important for these people themselves, for their own identity. They are... I always sensed it with my Palestinian friends who have Israeli citizenship. This whole sense of feeling Palestinian, I think, makes a lot of difference to them.
Right.
And I'm happy for them that they're doing this. I'm happy that they are able to express their identities as Palestinians. And this is an important lesson for us who are not Israelis, that there is no difference between Palestinians if you are from Gaza or if you're from Majd al-Krum. And this is a very important message that is spreading all over. That's why my vote goes for Haitham.
Right, anyhow, you know that I think a year or two ago, Lina Mahul, a Palestinian...
the woman who got in the Voice, right?
Yeah.
But see, that's the difference, that you don't get this...
So you can get here, you can win here, you can win there, and both sides.
But that's the critical issue, right?
Right.
Between representing Israel, for those people, actually.
But she's not representing Israel. She was.
But at the end, her voice went to Israel, like she's been Israel's voice, and that's the difference between Israel's voice as a Palestinian, regardless to your real talent, and between a Palestinian voice in such a competition. I think it makes a lot to the people themselves.
I see what you said. Okay, like always, was great to talk to you, and I believe and hope that Israel is going to win in the Arab Idol, a person with Israeli citizenship. You can. Even in that, we need to send you Israeli citizens in order to win.
That's the good thing about Israel. I have to say, it's not that I have this Stockholm syndrome at this moment, but how you manage to get out of the situation towards your best. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, it's a Palestinian voice, regardless to the citizenship, and it will be a Palestinian who will win. You can claim he's Israeli, but it doesn't matter. It's his blood.
I'm not going to claim anything, but I was so surprised to hear that you think that there is something good in Israel that I couldn't understand anything. I'm kidding. But I think citizenship is a very important thing. And of course you can think the opposites.
Yeah.
It was great to talk to you. Like always.
As always.
אתם מאזינים לרדיו כל השלום.